Hello everybody and welcome back to the chassis variant series of myself, Critical Rocket, as we move on to currently the last of the clan light mechs, the Jenner IIC. This is a mech that was introduced in the exact same year, almost the exact same time as the Exodus fleet left the Inner Sphere, then the Star League, into its long exodus toward what would later be known as Clan Space, but firstly the Pentagon worlds. It's not currently known how the 2C of the Jenner ended up, solely in their archives for construction when they did arrive on their new worlds, but there are many theories around why it may have existed or who came up with the design, but nothing's ever really been concrete. Essentially, the Jenner IIC is a major upgrade of the standard Jenner in some ways and more of a step back in others. The mech is very popular with Clan Novacat, and they even have their own variant, which sadly isn't in the game, which comes under the designation Jenner IIC-4. Uses two ATM-3 systems with a Streak 4. The 2C is quite a powerful little mech, actually, although I'm sad to say that generally the Jenner IIC-2, shown here with the ER Large, Small Pulse and LRM-5, is woefully undergunned in MechWarrior Online, and as such I would never recommend running it stock as I did. It's a tough mech to run stock, to be honest. Although the ER Large does give you the ability as a rather fast mech to stay back from targets, you don't really have the punch necessary to really be able to act in the role that it's given on tabletop, i.e. a support role, nor can you really be that much of a direct threat to anybody, really. You can't even really draw that much fire, because once people realise the weaponry you've got, they'll just focus on more dangerous targets and finish you off later. So it's definitely one for the customization route, which it is very apt at. PGI clearly noticed that this may have been an issue with the mech going in, and as such it has 4 energy hardpoints and the single missile hardpoint located in the centre torso, the energy being split between the arms. Essentially this means the mech can be built roughly the same way as the 2C3, with the multiple small pulses, or at this point micro lasers or whatever else you want to put on instead, or just 4 ER mediums. It essentially makes the mech a lot more effective in the role of a striker, which is how the general use of the Jenner IIC is meant to be used on the battlefield, since it works better in the role of being able to get up close and personal, dropping a load of streak missiles into a target and then moving off. So I would not recommend it as a purchase to run stock. The only major upside to it is the fact that it's the only 2C model that comes with 10 jump jets as a maximum, which means it can get pretty good sniping spots if you do decide to go for a build that does utilise some kind of extended range weaponry instead. So there is that as a small caveat to the reason to pick up the 2C2, but realistically you're going to do better with the 2C3 and with the standard 2C than you ever are with this model. Outside of the jump jets, the standard builds of the 2C3 is more desirable, to be honest, and as such the 2C2 is kind of, is left out. It's out in the cold. I mean, obviously any bad mech can have a good day. Sadly this is not one to do that. And so no, I would not recommend it. Just pick up one of the other two instead if you want to get maximum skill points on one to have as a collector, or if you just fancy trying out the 2C instead of the standard Jenner. It's not really known why the Jenner 2C has the more clan favoured sort of chicken walker type legs instead of the more traditional humanoid type legs that the Jenner has, despite the fact that it was built sometime in the late 2700s. This has also never been explained, although it's probably just artist license. If you ever look at the original art that was made by VMI, Victor Musical Industries, you'll see that they went for a much more anime inspired design, and that just looks a lot cooler, I guess. It's probably the real reason, but an in-universe reason has never really been given, and I doubt it ever really needs to be given, to be perfectly honest. As I said, it just looks cool. So yeah, not much else to really say about this, other than there was an interesting comment that I ended up speaking with some people in clan chat not long ago, and one of the lines given to me was that I give mechs a free pass based on getting like 400 damage rounds. For a start, I'd like to say that this is complete lies. 400 damage rounds never occurs, and these kinds of spurious rumours need to be quashed immediately. lest these rumours become rampant and people start to believe them. I never attained 400 damage. How dare ye? But also to say that, do I give them a pass? Well, 400 damage, if I achieve that in a mech that's stock weapons, I consider them. If I can do that in a mech that's got stock, imagine what you can do in a mech when you've customised it, for instance. So, do I give it a pass? Yeah. I mean, most people are going to customise these things anyway. They're never going to run them stock, and if they do, it's either because they just fancy the challenge, or they just want to see what it's like, or they haven't got enough C-bills to start the customisation. But whatever route they go, 9 times out of 10 people are going to, you know, make it fit their style of play. So, yeah, it's not that I give it a free pass, it's just generally I just give my opinion whether I like the mech or not, based on those stock builds and the potential that they have. Such as this. As a stock build, it's terrible, but potential is huge. For instance, because 4 energy hardpoints can give you a lot of damage for a relatively light mech, especially in the clan side of things. So, yeah, just to clear that up. But this one is winding down, and as you can see, the damage is not great, though I think the fight was quite energetic. There was a lot of movement, and both teams were a bit back and forth, so it was a good fight, so I thought I'd use this one. I'm not into getting wins for every video anyway, so as long as it gives me something to talk about with the mech, which this did. So thanks for watching, everybody. Hope you have a good one, and I'll see you next time. Bye!